Hello everyone. I am Arvind Sivakumar from Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham. Imagine you run an e-commerce website which needs to send order confirmation mail to customers who order something from your website. It will be wasteful to dedicate an entire server for this. Wouldn't it be great if you could just run the code when it's needed? That's where Lambda comes in. It's a very powerful service that lets you run code without managing your servers. But how does it work? And what does serverless computing actually mean? Serverless computing does not mean that there are no servers. It's just that you as a developer need not focus on the server part. You just focus on the code and make it work. That's where AWS takes care of everything related to servers. It handles provisioning, scaling, and maintenance. Now it's very easy to get confused with other similar AWS services. So this is my analogy. You have your own car and you maintain it, you pay for the fuel, repairs, and even the insurance. EC2 is like renting a car when you need it. You choose the size and you just pay for the time you use. But you will still drive and refuel it yourself. AWS Lambda is just like a taxi. You don't need to own the car or even rent it. You just request a ride and pay for what you use. You need not refuel it or anything of that sort. Another important fact is that AWS Lambda is built for milliseconds, unlike EC2, which is built for seconds. Moving on, we'll see how it works. I will take an example. A user calls an API, which is used to generalize a personalized greeting. So the trigger is the API call. When triggered, makes the Lambda function execute. Once the Lambda function is executed, the output is generated. After that, the Lambda function is immediately terminated. Now let us see how to make a Lambda function and connect it using APIs. We just go to the AWS Developer Console and search Lambda. Here we can create a new function. We can even import the function from a container image, but right now we'll just make a simple program which gets the user's name from as a input and returns a greeting for them. First, our function name can be sample, and we can make a Python runtime and create a function. You can see that the function is created. Over here, we can just get the query parameters and events get, and this is Amazon QRT. Then name get, and we can just if over here we can say just make a string over here. Deploy it over here. After the function has been successfully updated, now we can create a API. To create a API, we just search API over here, API gateway. The API gateway, we should create a new API. Right now, we are creating a REST API. We just create a REST API and sample API. We have to create a GET request so the user can send his name and get his greeting. So we just create GET method and choose our Lambda function sample from. Then we should also add a query string parameter name because we have to get name as an input from the user. Which is create a method. Once it's created, we can see this graph on how it works. And it doesn't end with this. We should also add an integration request because it has to understand where it has to go. So in the query string parameters, we have to add a name parameter because we're getting the name of the user. Then we also put method request query string. We are just getting the name of the user from the query string. And also in the mapping template, we have to add application or JSON. We just give a placeholder in here. Now we can just save this. We successfully updated the method. Now we can deploy the API. We can add a test stage. So we have a testing part of the API. On deploying, we can get the invoked URL here. We just copy it and open it in a new tab. Here we get hello and welcome to Lambda from the API. However, here if we pass our name, we also get our name in the body. So this is basically how we implement API using Lambda functions. Finally, why is Lambda function advantageous compared to other services? The main advantage is scalability. Scalability is basically expanding your resources as and when it's needed. The next is cost effectiveness. You only pay for milliseconds of your use. You need not overpay or underpay. It does not mean that if it is cost effective, it's very difficult to use. It is very well integrated with all AWS tools such as S3, EC2, and other important services. You might think why we don't use Lambda for everything. It is because Lambda is only ideal for running short-term processes and has a cap of 15 minutes execution time. So whether you're building API, automating workflow, or processing real-time data, AWS Lambda is the best tool for it. Thank you for watching.